Hello everybody and welcome to another build video. Today we are completing a Intel Core i5 office-based computer with a selection of good quality parts, ensuring a really quick PC. We are using M.2 NVMe SSDs, we are using aftermarket CPU coolers to keep things quiet, and we're also using a case with RGB lighting, so slightly more exciting compared to the more conventional entry-level office build. The NVMe drive that I spoke of earlier is a modern day equivalent of a traditional SSD which I commonly use in my builds. They're quite a bit smaller, as you can see. They fit directly onto the motherboard and require no additional cabling. They're also 5 to 6 times faster than SSDs. They are blazingly quick at doing all things that hard drives are needed to do. We are using a 500 watt 80 plus bronze power supply and a Gigabyte B360M motherboard. Here I am simply installing the SSD directly onto the board. There's a backplate that's required to mount the aftermarket cooler, which I'm now installing the backplate for. This is important to take up the extra slack and weight that the tall cooler basically impacts on the actual motherboard. Now what I'm doing is I'm about to apply the thermal paste, which is a compound that basically extracts heat away from the CPU in contact with the cooler above it. Then the cooler needs to be assembled and basically screwed down to the motherboard in a prearranged pattern to make sure that all the tensions are equal so that you don't do any damage to the board. Following this, we then insert the two DIMMs of RAM modules into the motherboard, securing them properly. We then fit the fan that comes with the aftermarket cooler and attach the cable to the motherboard and tuck away the cables to keep it nice and neat and out of the way. Here we have the M.2 and the cooler and the RAM and the CPU all installed, so that completes the preparation of the motherboard for the build. The purpose of the aftermarket cooler is to make sure that things run a lot cooler, therefore fans are a lot quieter and therefore you don't hear too much of your PC making a racket. What I'm doing here is installing the I/O shield at the back of the computer, and then we're dropping the motherboard and secure that into place using the 6 screws provided. The next thing we do is drop in the power supply and secure that in place, and this basically gives power to all our internals in the computer. This particular build doesn't have too many cables to manage, but it's important that we do that and secure them down properly before we put the rear cover back onto the case and secure. To be fair, this particular case at present doesn't have too much in it, but there's plenty of room for expansion with future hard drives if they're required, video cards, any other expansion cards that might be required. And there you have it, basically the finished product. Who says a budget PC can't look nice? This particular case is of RGB lighting on both sides of the front panel, which are selectable, so you can have different colors, you can have a static display or a rainbow type effect, and that you can do by flicking a button on top of the case, which just adds a bit of ambience to the actual case itself. There's also some RGB lighting inside the motherboard, on the actual motherboard itself, which gives it a bit of balance as well. I'm just going to cycle through a couple of the different color options that are available. The camera doesn't pick it up too well, but you get a general idea. So there's 5 or 6 different colors to choose from and a couple of different effects as well. So you've got something for any kind of mood that you might be feeling that you want. You can also turn it off, of course, as well. So there it is, all complete, and thank you very much for watching once again. It's been good sharing this with you, and we'll see you in the next one.